Hello kiddies, your Uncle Spurt here, and today we're going to have a good hard squint at the fresh new HMD Fusion. A rather excitingly titled customizable smartphone that can be niftily upgraded and pimped out with mods, or outfits as HMD is calling them. Like this here flashy outfit. And you know, you got your Fairphones and your shift phones these days, but this is the first time I've clapped eyes on a proper modular phone like this since the heady days of the Moto Z, etc., or the Moto Mods era. And of course that turned out really well. So can HMD give modular phones a much needed boot up the arse and succeed where Motorola kind of its pants? Well, full HMD Fusion unboxing and review coming at your face, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So what do you get stuffed in that box besides, of course, the HMD Fusion? Bloody hell, that is a proper hefty boy. Well, you've got a lovely bit of USB cable action, a pokey SIM pin, a quick start guide, and ooh, a lovely QR code so you can find out more about those Fusion outfits. And sadly, that is your lot. No adapter as usual, although I have just spied that the HMD Fusion comes pre-clad in a condom case to help keep it protected. It's on there pretty bloody good as well. There you go. Bits of hair, probably not mine. So you go, a bit of extra protection. So the HMD Fusion will set you back £200 here in Blighty, or €249. I can tell why it's got that condom case slapped on there to begin with, because without it, it kind of looks semi-built. HMD apparently going for an industrial chic motif. All I can picture is a very fancy, dapper Robocop. As you can see, when the HMD Fusion is naked, the battery's exposed. You can see all the individual little screws and everything. You can also check out those smart pins down below, which are used to communicate with all the outfits that you slap on there. And like many other recent HMD phones, you can actually rip out various bits of the Fusion and replace them if you want. Components like the battery, for instance. Saves you spunking out a load of cash on a whole new blower if one bit balks up. You just got to jump online and order the various bits from iFixit, and it's fairly simple, this process. Even I managed it with my shaky, wobbly alcoholic's hands after like 5.5 pints of bitter. Only thing I would say is if you've got crap eyesight, then you're going to struggle because some of these screws are incredibly dinky. But anyway, yes, you'll probably want to keep the transparent case slapped on there. Oh, get on your bugger. As you can see, the HMD Fusion, bit of a chunkster with this slapped on, and adds to the already considerable heft as well, so here's a bit of a brick. HMD is apparently also offering a range of different coloured cases to slap on there instead. Otherwise, of course, you can just bung on one of its outfits. Sadly, so far, I've only got the one, this here so-called flashy outfit. Now I've got to get this almighty git off again. And as you can see, you've got the old connector pins at the bottom there, which pair them up. And there you go, flashy is on, and my goodness, the Fusion is even more of a chunkster. And what the flashy outfit does is basically add a wee pop-up ring light onto the back end of your Fusion. And you'll notice when you squeeze this outfit on that you get a fresh new flashy button pop up in that camera app. And when we give this a wee tap, illumination. I haven't seen a ring glow like that since the last time I had a Vindaloo. So yeah, that'll help me to up my selfie game. Not that I need much help in that department, obviously. And if you tap the wee settings button just underneath the on-off button, where you can change up not only the brightness but also the colour of that ring. So I can actually add a wee bit of colour to my cheeks. And you don't just have to go with one of the presets either. You can completely choose whichever colour you want in this wee menu. And of course, it doesn't just work for the selfie cam, also works for the old rear cam there. And that light is just powered by the Fusion's own built-in battery, so nice and easy. My only complaint with flashy is that you don't seem to be able to use that ring light outside of the camera app. So for instance, if you switch on the torch, it just turns on the normal camera flash. But otherwise, any selfie fans, vloggers, etc. might want to give it a gander. And apparently we can expect a few more outfits to drop before 2024 buggers right off. So for instance, there's a rugged outfit which will boost the IP rating from 54 to 68. So you'll actually be able to fully submerge the Fusion in water and it should be fine, which you absolutely cannot do in its vanilla state. It'll also help to ruggedize it, so if it slips out of your hand after a few too many shandies, should hopefully still be fine. And apparently it also adds an SOS button just in case you really get yourself in trouble and have fallen into a ditch on your way back from the local boozer. And that's as well as a battery boosting outfit, which seems like a pretty natural fit, a game and controller outfit, so presumably you'll get some Switch style buttons, a bit of Call of Duty, PUBG, whatever. And because this is an open source system, you can also expect some third-party outfits to land for the HMD Fusion soon as well. Now, the rest of the HMD Fusion is pretty straightforward stuff. You've actually got a fingerprint sensor built into that edge-mounted power button. And my limited time with the HMD Fusion certainly seems perfectly respectable, as you can see there, pleasingly responsive. And yes, this is backed by the usual bit of face unlock as well, just in case for whatever reason your mitts are a bit grimy, greasy, whatever. And it's the same software setup as other HMD branded smartphones, so a refreshingly stock version of Android. You do have some crapware slapped on here. That situation seems to be getting worse every year. The likes of Booking.com, ExpressVPN, is that? Oh yeah. Kindred, whatever that is, sounds like a load of hippie bollocks. And somewhat inevitably, the usual suspects like of LinkedIn and bloody Facebook. And some of these apps you can quickly and easily uninstall, and other ones not quite so much. And HMD has also slapped on its own app, My Device. And yes, this allows you to hoy even more money at HMD, but it does also include some useful user guides and facts. You can also do a bit of a health check on your smartphone. Make sure it's in perfect health and not all knackered and feeble like myself. I've got no bloody clue what this wallpaper's all about though. Kind of looks like a melted joypad wearing a bucket hat. And the other on-device efforts aren't much better. So yes, I'll most certainly be slapping on one of my own anime extravaganzas. Now it's Android 14 what's slapped on the HMD Fusion out of the box, and in not terribly great news, HMD is only offering 2 OS updates for this bad boy, so Android 15 should hopefully be rolling in soon, and then Android 16 next year / early 2026, and that's your lot. Gotta say, that is pretty cack, especially for a smartphone that's supposedly supposed to see you through the long haul by the fact that you can replace any busted components and of course expand the functionality. At least HMD is offering 3 years of security patching, though in that third and final year this will drop from a monthly update to a quarterly update. In slightly better news, at least the Fusion still boasts all the features you would kind of hope would be slapped on here, like NFC for your contactless payments, etc. And yes, you do actually have full eSIM support on this bad boy as well. You eventually get into the SIMs menu. Ta-da! And the storage, pretty standard stuff, a choice of either 128 or 256 gigs of the stuff. But good news, that is actually expandable via micro SD memory cards. As for that 6.56-inch display slapped on the front end of the HMD Fusion, well, it's pretty basic budget stuff. This is an IPS panel, first one I've actually seen in a while, because even quite a few affordable phones around this sort of price point now come with an OLED. What's more, it's also just an HD plus screen, 1612 by 720 pixel resolution. First one I've reviewed in quite a while that wasn't full HD. You got limited control over those visuals in the display settings. You can tweak the color temperature, you can turn on the usual nightlight shenanigans, but that's about it. You can't boost the colors or anything. Colors not too bad. Certainly can't be described as punchy, but they're not terribly muted. And on the maxed out brightness, you can just about get away with outdoors use on a sunshiny day. I would imagine it's November in the UK, so we won't be seeing the sun for quite some time. Our screen does max out at 90Hz refresh, though sadly the overall experience doesn't feel particularly silkily smooth. Let's move down to the performance, more on that in a bit. And sadly, not much better news on the audio front, because it is just a mono speaker, just the bottom firing one that's used for your movies and YouTubes and such forth.
To another testicle-throbbingly enticing episode of TechSpurt Weekly. And this week your Uncle Spurt has buggered off to India for the first time in 2 decades.
So yeah, not exactly the loudest speaker in the world, that's for sure. Even when you max out that volume, you'll be struggling to hear it over any kind of background noise, and it's pretty tinny and a bit crap. You do at least have a bit of aptX adaptive support, and something that's becoming increasingly endangered on modern mobiles, an actual ruddy headphone jack. Huzzah! Now the performance is yet another area where the HMD Fusion really shows its budget roots. This bad boy is powered by Qualcomm Snapdragon 4 Gen 2, backed by up to 8 gigs of RAM. Mine is the 6 gig review model. So yeah, certainly don't expect to be playing the likes of Wuthering Waves on maxed out graphics. The likes of Call of Duty and PUBG will just about run with a stable-ish frame rate on the lower graphics. That's about your max. A good bit of Wordle, of course, plays like an absolute dream. No love for Spurt today, no love at all. But the good news is the battery life is absolutely banging here on the HMD Fusion, because you've got a 5000 mAh capacity cell crammed in there. And of course you've got the low-powered Snapdragon chipset. You've got a basic HD screen. So this thing is happily lasting the day, even if you use the camera a fair bit. And most people should happily make it through a full weekend, no worries, before they have to bung a cable in it and recharge it. Speaking of which, 33 watt wired charging support on the Fusion, which ain't dreadful, not quite as bad as some rivals like the Pixel 8a for instance. And let's cap off this HMD Fusion extravaganza with a squint at the camera tech. And what you got here is a dual lens setup. And this is a 108 meg main sensor plus a basic depth sensor. There's no ultra wide option or anything. Camera app is pretty straightforward stuff. As you can see, you've got the likes of the HDR mode, you've got AI portrait, a few other settings you can meddle about with, including a high-res mode if you want to shoot in the full 108 megapixels. You've got a dedicated portrait mode and night mode, and also a pro mode that you can swap to if you want to piddle about with the likes of the EV levels, the white balance, the shutter speed. And here's just a smattering of sample shots that I snapped around the homestead these past few hours with the HMD Fusion using the auto mode. And as you can see, pretty basic stuff, especially in lower light conditions and in strong contrast where it kind of falls on its arse a bit. As for that selfie shooter, well, it's a 50 meg snapper slapped on the front end of the HMD Fusion, and of course you can enhance this with a bit of glow and ring action, as we discovered earlier. But you know, even without the aid of a glow and ring, I reckon I'm pretty much smashing it on the selfie front. And there you have it, my lovelies. That and a tasty, delicious wee nutshell is the fresh new HMD Fusion Modular smartphone, and I'm highly intrigued to see where it goes, what kind of outfits come out for it, how much support it gets. Definitely be interesting to see if HMD can succeed where Motorola kind of fluffed it a bit. It is a shame that the Fusion is quite so budgety in quite a few areas, like the display, the speaker setup, the camera tech, and of course that performance. Although if you just want a basic everyday smartphone for, you know, a good bit of mixed use with excellent battery life, nice clean stock bit of Android, and of course the potential upgradeability and repairability, then, you know, it might be worth a squint. And that's what this knackered old northerner reckons anyway. It'd be great to hear your thoughts on the HMD Fusion down in the comments below. Please do poke, subscribe, and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful rest of the week. Cheers, everybody. Love you.